Oh, what rhymes with Jordan? Yeah.
Welcome to the Homies and Babes podcast.
It is the homies and babes.
Starting me and Jordan.
Yep.
Okay, so for you guys, what about the story stood out to you when we were discussing scripts, and why do you think we picked it?
Yeah. Sorry, I had something right away. This script was so deep and so heartfelt, and it's about humans and about how humans deal with grief and about those interpersonal relationships and how that affects family, friends, potential romantic lovers. It is just about the human brain and how it deals with grief and sadness. And I always find that so interesting. And so getting to be able to do that script and focus on that and have people who clearly care about that subject and want to portray it in the best way that they can, getting to do that story was just perfect. Everything was perfect. I keep saying that, but I loved this process, so it was really cool.
With Malcolm and Sierra, our wonderful producers, providers of food and other services. Just give a very brief sentence about what you both did during production.
This past 2 weekends?
Or just throughout the whole
Oh,
thing.
just the weekends. And the whole thing. Yeah, so it's funny. During production, during our principal photography, food was our main.
Right.
Yeah, craft services. We spent a ton of money on food, in an exorbitant amount.
I
And
think everybody was happy.
no, people were happy. The whole thing with the serving spoons, the people weren't giving us serving spoons. I think that was a point of contention between people, or not between people. Yeah, no, people in the restaurants forgot to give us serving spoons or some of the food. Yeah.
We had to make sure everything was in order.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they just didn't.
Yeah, but that was during personal photography. We were just people who ran and got stuff. Offset, we had our cars and just ran to the store, whether it be for gas, props, food, like we said.
That.
Learning camera equipment, was it interesting or it is hard?
To use the camera equipment? Personally for me, I guess, I feel like I could speak for you guys. We've set up tripods before, we've set up cameras before. I think it was just kind of a new experience, especially with Midwest and all of the extra stuff that we got to use. Yeah. The dolly and the Dana dolly, that was really cool to use. I've never used anything like that before. It's definitely a learning curve, but I feel like we kind of caught on to it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like there's definitely a difference between learning about how things work and what to do and then actually doing it, There's a difference between, applying the theory and then getting the hands-on experience, which is good.
What were some funny moments that you remember while we were filming, or even in pre-production?
Anything Colin did.
I feel like that'll be a common answer.
Maybe for diversity, a different answer, just because other people have also said that.
Maybe. I wonder. I remember the script room. That was pretty fun. That was a goofy time. It was a very healthy mix of absolute. Can I swear?
Moderately.
Absolute bullshit nonsense and sheer work and keeping your ear to the grindstone to quote Good Will Hunting. It was very it was one or the other. Either it was just absolute chaos and we were throwing out crazy ideas left and right until one of them eventually stuck. And it'd be you know what? That could actually work. And then we start changing it and it starts sounding good. So, yeah, that was an interesting time because we were all kind of getting our feet wet with the class, too, We didn't really know what we were doing yet. We've all written scripts before. We're seniors, juniors at least. I think most of us probably have. And, yeah, getting our feet wet and starting the class with that was a pretty fun and interesting time, at least getting to know each other, too, because I have a feeling the 6 people in that room got to know each other a little too well.
For animals, we got kind of lucky. We had Dr. Scholey. His 2 dogs served as young and old Dixie, And as for the children, they came very close to the start of principal photography. We all just had to team up and see who we could get for these roles, and luckily we got 2 star child actors for it.
So, Xin, how's working with Sam? Were you enjoy it, and any kind of things you learned from Sam?
Yeah, I enjoy it. Working with Sam is very helpful to me. I learned many different knowledge about lighting from him, and I understand how to use many different light.
We think it's easy in the end, and in the beginning we just need to figure out how to make the comfortable way to record the audio.
I thought in a way it was sort of like a steady amount of kind of difficult. We got better at it, I think, but there was a lot of equipment to use. We were always sort of in the other room up on the second floor of Williams with Matt Crum, sort of learning how to use all of the stuff, testing out different microphones. And it definitely got easier, but easier is relative. It was sort of all very confusing, lots of buttons to push, lots of, but we had each other, and that was helpful. When one of us was maybe doing something wrong, the other one would step in, one of the two. And I'd say another difficult thing was trying to keep the microphone out of the shot, because there were lots of times where you'd be like, oh, this is a perfect place for the dialogue, and then we didn't realize that the camera would move, and we would be right there, our little faces right there in the camera.
Yeah, I think for the audio part, most hard part is just holding the boom mic. Like we have to hold in that for hours. Yeah.
Hurts your back.
So, what were like some like funny moments or any like stressful moments?
Stressful moments? I'll start with that. Staying on set until 2 a.m.
Oh, yes.
Probably 2 times, I think twice.
We had a couple really late nights.
Yeah, and really dampers the mood, but we would also be super slap happy and just like joking around all the time, like nonstop. Yeah, we definitely had like a lot of energy, so those of us that like weren't filming would just be like hanging out, kind of joking around a lot, which I'm not saying that's a good thing necessarily, but it was definitely a lot of fun.
We had to like do something to keep morale. Like I remember like sitting with you and Nate in your car, and in like the same conversation, we went from talking about Justin Bieber to recounting the Twilight movies, and then sex. So that was just a long.
This wasn't going in.
It was just a genuine conversation that we had, and we generally got to know each other. I think it was those moments that really stood out when like I'd have very genuine conversations with people that like I may never have talked to before this whole thing. Like
I agree.
We were all in this together in a really kind of cheesy way.
In this together. Oh, is it?
Yes, definitely.
It's my own cover, so.
Yeah.
So, were there any interesting things that happened, and were there any like funny moments during the production?
You first. I just had a blast because it was my first professional shoot, and I loved learning from everyone, from Sam, from Jordan, from the whole cast and crew was incredible, and I'm really looking forward to this being the first of many production shoots in the future.
Yeah, it's a new challenge for all of us. So I think every night I remember clearly, like, it's hard to all of us. Yeah, it's a good experience for me.
Just like, I don't know, seeing the actors get to act, I think. And like just seeing, like we worked on this script and seeing just them come together. Like I think when the bonfire scene was when we had all of the actors together, like for the only time really. And just seeing everyone like interact with each other was cool. Like you could see family resemblances, and like Tom and Reagan were like bonding together. That was really cool, and just seeing it come to life, I think I'm gonna remember the most. Like like went over every single line so much, and then we got to hear them say it, and that was really cool.
Yeah, and just like seeing how passionate everyone was in their roles, like was very inspiring to me. Like it was really cool to see people like just really want to make the best film as possible, and like working together to do that, like Gemma said, with like everyone had their different roles, but we all came together and made this great film.